Now, when we take a look at 3D printers on our channel, we look at them through the lens of someone who owns a 3D print farm. Our focus is it quality, meaning the output from the printer? Do we have reliability? Do we have dimensional accuracy? Do we basically have something that is simple to use, that requires very low maintenance, and that you're really not spending your time tweaking, adjusting, and just trying to get the filament to print through your printer and to do it right and to have high quality output? Well, and at the end of the video, I typically say, does this printer pass our test and would we include it in our print farm? I have to say that with the Bambu Lab series, it's a yes, 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 and yes to all those questions. So we're going to start out with yes, absolutely yes. The Bambu Lab H2S is a printer that's going to deliver on all those fronts. So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the prints. We're going to look at the overall quality that we get out of the printer. This is the printer. If you want a larger printer that has the Bambu Lab badge that basically can support, again, the experience that you have today if you own any Bambu Lab. If you're going from an A1 Mini all the way up to an A1 to a P1S to, let's say, a X1 Carbon, or even if you're considering looking at an H2D, right? This printer is going to meet the mark when it comes to overall quality and performance. So today, we'll take a look at the printer, we're going to look at the features, we're going to take a look at some prints, and typically we print functional parts like you can see here. But I'm going to throw in some fun ones because we're getting close to Halloween, and I said, hey, why not? Let's put something that's fun. And because of the size of this printer, you can print large masks like this. Check this out. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. The ability to print something that large with this printer, which is something that I've always wanted in a Bambu Lab printer. And I have to thank Bambu Lab for sending us the printer. They gave us the printer for us to review. They are not seeing this content. They're not editing the content. This is our opinion. And we're just excited to be able to get our hands on such a magnificent machine that is really going to change the game on how we print and how large we print. So let's get right to it. Now let's start with the mask in the room. And before we go through all the specs and the features of the printer, really it's all about the print bed, because you are getting a better printer, not only from a technology perspective, but you're also getting a better printer from a size perspective. And you can see here that we printed a full mask. Now, in our business, and even as hobbyists, when we spend time doing hobby things, we are not really into printing things like this, but I wanted to print something that was fun, something that was aligned with the season that's coming just this month when it comes to Halloween, and how you can print full masks and not have to split it into pieces. Because let's face it, this is what we're used to. So this is coming off of one of our, again, X1 Carbons that we have that you see in the background all the way over there. And this is the size of what we could print before. This printer, and we'll go ahead and open up the door here, has a massive bed. It has a 340 by 320 by 340. And it's able to take advantage of the entire print bed, or more of the print bed than the H2D, given the dual print heads that it has and how that limits some of the areas that it can print. But this one has the largest print bed of all the Bambu Lab printers. Now, for me, that's a really positive thing. The fact that I could go bigger. Bigger means we can produce more parts. Bigger means we can have larger parts. And that's something that I was really looking for, because the actual quality that you get from a Bambu Lab printer is far superior than most every printer on the market. So size, in this case, matters. Now, to give you a sense of size, I'm just going to go ahead and put the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon build plate in this printer so you can see the actual difference. Now, typically what we're able to do, based on the parts that we print, we're able to print 4 parts on our printers. And 4 parts per build plate is not bad. So literally, as you see here, I have one here, and then I'm able to do a few more, right? In this printer, it really changes things completely, because I can do more than just 4. I can actually fill the print bed with many more objects that I would like to print. Check this out. Bam. Check it out. Bam. And I can add, bam, and I can continue to add. So I have the ability to print more per bed, and that is important to me. It gives me more scale per print time, and it just makes life a lot easier for us versus just dealing with only 4 type of prints that we can print. And again, these are some of our smaller prints or parts that we print that come off other Bambus that have fantastic quality. So the print bed is a big deal for us because of the size that you get and the overall productivity that we earn by just using it. But it's not just about the print bed. And you notice that you have this glowing LED here at the very bottom. This is a really cool feature. At first, I'll tell you, when I first saw it, I said, how much does this matter to me when it comes to running a small farm? And over time, and I'm not saying like a long time, in a couple of days, I've gotten really used to it. And then I actually look at this bar more and more because it changes colors based on where your job is. So for example, if for whatever reason, run out of filament, it basically will change to a red color. When it's finished, it's green. It just goes through all these different colors, and that's a really good visual indication, especially if you have, let's say, a webcam and you're monitoring your print area, to be able to see the status of your printer really easily without having to pull into a specific app. Now, the other thing about this printer is that it does have a single head. So when you compare this to the H2D, you have to ask yourself, if you're going to be doing multicolor prints, does the multiple print head buy you anything? Or are you doing a lot of products that require support material and you want to go with a higher end product filament, but then the lower end cost product for the support material because it's just going to be throwaway anyway. So those are some of the things that you really need to think of. But in our case, we primarily print with 3 primary colors. We're either black, white, or gray. Those are our colors. If we do any type of multicolor, it's a hobby thing. It's not anything that we do for business. So that isn't really super important to us at this time. Could I use color? Yeah, I could if I wanted to label our parts in a specific color. Right now, it's something that we want to do in the future, maybe with the next Bambu Carbon, the C version, when that comes out. But right now, this is going to work for us fine. Now, despite the fact that this only has one print head, it does have 3 cameras. And it has AI detection, around 23 different sensors and 3 cameras that are monitoring the quality of your print. And they really help ensure that you don't come down and find that something failed or that something is about to fail because of the technology that it has. So this is not just about having a camera that you can look on your phone to see what's going on, but it's about having a camera and sensors that really help you understand the quality of the print that's coming out, especially if you're using this for production purposes. Now, from a print speed perspective, you can expect to get a 30% boost on this printer, depending on your profiles and your settings that you're choosing. You're looking at a heated chamber, right? Active heated chamber that will raise up to 65°C as well. So that is also really welcome. Now, the hot end is going to be able to reach a temperature of 350°C, which is going to give you the ability to print a wide variety of materials. And the hot end here is one of the easiest hot ends there are for removal and also maintenance. This is super easy, and I really like this. We've been stocking up on print heads because we actually go through nozzles, at least 2 to 3 nozzles a year. And we do this as a preventative maintenance process to make sure that we continue to maintain the right quality. So having a quick swap nozzle like this really comes in handy. No tools are needed. It just comes out really easy. It's like the A1 Mini, also the A1, and very similar, well, more than similar, it's the exact same model that you see on the H2D. Now, the heated chamber does have great airflow, which means that you're going to have some evenly heated parts for those of you that are printing some materials that require that high heat. You could also do low temperature printing as well, so it operates on both sides. And it does have, and you'll see this up here in a couple seconds, you'll see it does have kind of like a little, I would say, vent system on the very top, some panes that open up to allow the actual air to escape to maintain the right temperature, even when printing PLA. So prior, what you would do is you would have the door open when you were printing PLA. Now you don't have to do that. So let's take a look at some of the venting that takes place up here. So once we start the printer, you'll see this. This will open up. So previously, you would either remove the glass, there'd be something that you'd print to raise the glass. There's all these things that you would do, but you don't have to do that anymore because of the venting system that it has right here. The only thing that you need to make sure is that you don't have anything here that's obstructing it, because you want to be able to allow it to open and close. You will notice that you have to have a USB key here as opposed to a memory card, as you found in some of the previous units on the side. And this is what you need in order to be able to have local storage for prints. If you don't have something like this installed, then what ends up happening is you won't be able to do any kind of storage. Now, I like the low profile keys, so you can get these really inexpensively online, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. And I like the short ones like this because there's no hazard of you hitting it, moving it, and then breaking something and damaging your USB port. So this is something that I really like a lot. Now the display here has changed quite a bit, and we'll pan up somewhat so you can see what's going on here. So the display itself gives you, it's a great informational display, and we saw this in the most recent firmware changes that have happened to the X1C line, where this kind of interface came into play. We also saw this interface in the H2D, and it basically gives you the ability to, again, access all of the controls in the printer, and is very visual and very graphical. And again, you can see here that you could go straight into print. You see everything that's going on in your printer, that it's connected. You can also see your filament information here, part cooling, temperature, chamber temperature, heat bed, and your speeds. You do have multiple speeds that you can go through. You can either do ludicrous mode, which is crazy fast, but I find that we always print in standard. Sometimes I'll print in sport because I want to maintain the right quality and dimensional accuracy, and I don't want to test it. As far as silent, we don't operate in silent because we don't have this in a living area. So having it in standard or sport is what we would typically do. Changing any of these settings is pretty simple. All you do is click on it, and then you just type in your value, and then you're able to change it. And again, you get this nice informational display here. Filament, you have all your filament is here. It's listed really nicely. It does have RFID capabilities to actually read the roll of filament, and based on how it reads the roll, it knows the filament type, and then it also knows how much filament is in the roll. So you'll notice right here how this roll symbol right there doesn't really have 100%. The bar is a little bit halfway because we've used half of the filament that's in that spool. So you really get some really nice error-free, simple, I would say, to use controls that make 3D printing ownership really untechnical, not really complicated. And that's just something that when I tell my friends that are interested in going into 3D printing, that this is the type of 3D printer that they should consider because of how simple it is. So this is a really, really, I would say, nice feature to have. You also then have here more information about your network, your connectivity, any kind of calibration, the actual machines. We have all our machines are named by speedsters or gods, and my wife likes Odin, so we call this Odin's son. Not Odin like the primary guy, but the secondary guy in this case. So we name our printers as well. So everything here is pretty straightforward, and what we're going to do is, so that you can actually see the print experience for those of you who have not experienced a machine like this, we're going to go ahead and print something while we talk about prints. Now, the cool thing about the actual printer is that the printer does have an onboard memory, and you can see there's a lot of stuff that's here. As I click on it, you have your internal memory, right? And this is what Bambu provided, and the USB has all the things that we've been printing, right? So these are our files of things that we work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print a benchy. That's kind of like the standard thing, just so that we can get this printed and you can see how this works. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. I'm going to continue to work with our white PLA that we have there. That's fine. And then we'll hit print. So we'll let that go. Now, as soon as you get that going, you'll notice that it prepares it. It's going to go ahead and start loading it. It does have some audible chirps that take place. And then the print head is going to move into the appropriate place, and then the bed is going to move up as well. So you'll see a lot of things going on. You'll also notice in a couple seconds, and we'll pull back so that you can see that the actual bar itself starts changing colors. And it's almost like it has a progress bar, because we have the light kind of white, and then we have kind of like some red going through it, almost as if information is being loaded. Now, the printer does operate rather quiet, right? So there's a couple things when you start up. It does have filament poop that it has to deal with, so that's probably a little bit loud as it's extruding that and then kicking that out. And then you have the initial temperature change. And you're noticing how this opens up in the very top, because, again, this is going to be printed via PLA, and it knows that it needs to make sure that it's cool enough so that it doesn't require you to have to open up the door to get the actual prints at the quality that you want. Now, one of the things I will say also about the printer, I am amazed at the person or persons, the department that's responsible for storing, for shipping these printers. Bambu has set the bar when it comes to shipping of equipment and making sure that there isn't any damage. And so we've been very blessed where every printer that we've gotten from them hasn't had any kind of damage, but I love the way they really think about all the storage and how they ship it. So over here, one of the things I'll do is open this up, and I want to show you something else. And this is somewhat of a pain for me when I use my other printers. I love this area right here because when I put my hand right here, and let me pan down just a little bit more so you can see this right there. What you're going to see is there's no edge here. So I can actually put my hand in here, right? And I can get any loose filament. And you can see there's always going to be loose filament. And I can actually throw that out easily. I can throw it on the floor if I want, and I can sweep it up a little bit later. If I have my robots, they can come and get it. But this is a big deal for me as well, because you basically have in the other printer an edge here that you're not able just to sweep things out. And every now and then, if poop doesn't fall into the actual trap, you can get that here, and as it's going down, it just interferes with the bed. So having that really easy way to do things is important. Now, what the printer is doing is it's calibrating the filament, and then also you have a part fan right here that takes place, and it's in a fixed position because the bed moves. Nothing else has to move, right? So this is always going to be in the right spot. You'll notice that I have been doing a lot of printing, and there's some print stains here. This is something that you can clean off. Sometimes what you could do is you can print a full sheet, thin sheet here, and that helps with that as well. Sometimes those stains will transfer to your print, so that's something just to be aware of. And I'll show you some examples of where that takes place. This occasionally happens when you remove the print too soon or faster, before you actually have the bed cool off. Now, a couple things that you'll notice is that the printer is going ahead and it's going to extrude filament. It's going to move over to the side. It's going to clean the head off. It's going to use, there's some little, I would say, almost like hairs, but it's like a rubberized piece there that the actual print head is cleaning itself on before it starts doing any kind of printing. So this is pretty much a normal process for the printer. And this is probably one of the areas that I wish could go faster, but it kind of sets the bar for what the printer experience should be. Notice that the bar is also indicating the color. It's checking the level. I could bypass the leveling of the bed. If I wanted to, I can choose that option and turn that off in the actual software when I send the print, or you can just take the time to do the level just like I am. It's pretty much up to you. All right, so here we see the bead of filament that I put, and that bead of filament is the first bead. Typically what you would see in the previous generations, you'd have a bead that would come over here, and then it would start. Or you'd have one on this side, and then it would start. Notice how it placed the filament bead close to the actual object that it's going to print. While that's small, it does help accelerate the actual print process, which is, again, something that is very welcome. Now, because it's going a little bit faster, the fan actually kicked in, so it is louder than it typically is. If I close this door, it will get a little bit quieter, but it's a little loud right now because the fan kicked in as it's printed. But you can see how fast this printer is going. Now, this printer is really quiet. I just wanted to bring this up so you can see this, and we'll stay quiet. Now, the noise that you hear is, it's pretty much the print head as it's moving back and forth as it's going at this really high speed. So this is something just to be aware of. What I'm going to do is, just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and change the actual profile, the print profile, from standard speed to sport. And we're just going to see what kind of quality we get out of it, because the quality is going to be good. Bottom line, the quality is going to be good. But let's see if we increase the speed. And again, for those of you, sport increases at 124%. And we'll just let the printer continue to print as it's doing it. Again, very stable printer. You see how easy it is, large bed, and I really love, again, just the size of it and the fact that it prints so well. Now, a couple things we'll take a look at, and that is going to be differences here with the panels. One of the things that you're going to see, and we'll go ahead and pan over here to the side, is that the panels themselves, unlike the H2D, basically don't have any kind of windows. I like the windows, but I'm also not missing the windows. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but it is fully enclosed on both sides. It is a polycarbonate type material, so it's not metal, right? Even though the front is glass and the top is glass. And again, you have your venting system right here going in place. I'm a plastic guy. I haven't even removed the plastic off of it, even though I'm using it. I do have the AMS2, which I like, and gives you some extra features, and it's definitely a welcome solution. And you can see here I have several rolls. I have Polymaker PLA, which is what we use in our store. I have some Bambu for both the white and the black, but I also use Polymaker black and white at times as well. But in this case, I have 2 spools. It was on sale, so I got that. So here we have the sides. You can see the same as the other side, not a lot going on. Now, in the back of the printer, you'll notice that things have changed quite a bit with the AMS2, much simpler, right? This is both your data cable and your power. You have the ability to daisy chain, and this is how it connects to the back. So you don't really have some of the contraptions or boxes that you used to have with the other solution with this one. So basically, it just goes straight from here, straight into here. And then you have two, right? So you have this bottom one is if I want to have an external spool. And then over here, if you're going to have something that is TPU, they recommend that you use this one. So it has 3 filament spots, one again for the AMS, one for your external spool, and then this is specifically for TPU just to make sure that it's handled well. You'll notice in the back there's also venting, and this opens and closes. You have a key right here. They introduced this key when they introduced the laser capability with the laser. I don't see it of much value when it comes to this printer because there's no laser, but it's something that is there. And then what you have is, again, your power switch right there, and that's nice and in place. I did put one of these little contraptions here. This is actual for the poop. It's a poop tray and slider. So the poop goes through here and then falls into here, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It doesn't really shake that much. There is some slight wobble, as you can see, but it's not terrible, especially with the rubberized feet. Now, while the printer's printing, let me share with you some of the prints that we do. And so a lot of what we do has to do with jigs and then other parts that for companies that we do 3D printing for. We distribute both to B2C and also B2B. And a lot of what we produce is, again, for makers. So this, for example, is a series of jigs that we printed on the printer. We look at dimensional accuracy, we look at cleanliness, we don't like any pit marks, no poop, no pimples. There's a lot of different terms. So we look at things that just come out really, really well. And this is the kind of stuff that we're printing full bed. And again, gives us a really good bed size. And you can see first layer is great, and the top layer is great too. We get a lot of positive comments on our prints because of the quality of our prints. This is another jig, and this could be used on the X-Tool F2 and then also the F1 Ultras, right? And these also can work on other large format lasers. So if you have a laser that has a 300 millimeter let's say lens, then you could go really large like this. If you have a 170, 110, or 2, then you're looking at something that's smaller like this. But as you go to the 300s, then you could go something like this. And this is what you would use if you're going to be engraving, for example, flasks, right? And then this is for golf tees, right? This is a massive golf tee jig that can be used. Now, in addition to creating stuff like that, we do venting systems, and this was done on, again, this printer, and you can see the quality is just spectacular, right? Very, very clean, and when people get our parts, they're just amazed on the cleanliness and how well it looks. We also produce venting systems like this, right? This one's a little dirty, but we do venting systems. This connects to that part that you saw right there, and it has a screw-in piece for a specific hose type. We do other vent type systems like this, and this is, again, a longer vent system. This gives you the ability to have 1, 2, and 3 things connected for venting purposes. It could be a UV printer, it could be a laser and another laser, and this would go to X-Tool's IF2, or it could go to the AP2 for filtration indoors. So this is, again, a larger part, but you can see the quality here is what we really like, what we get from Bambu. Now, we also then produce some other type of things, and this is going to be a fun one. We just started producing these. This is for 3D, I would say, engraved glass that has inner glass engraving. Let me press this button, and we'll do this one more time. So this is an actual stand, bottom and top, gives the actual item itself a really, really nice glow, and it gives you the ability to, again, display your piece, and we do these as well. So this is a really nice keepsake and also collectible item for someone who's looking to collect these things. These, again, are all the things that we're printing here on the H2S. These are rulers that we use for UV printing, so we make a lot of those. And then we have, again, large containers that we create too. So this is an ink container that we make, and this is for the UFI E1, and this was, again, printed on this machine. And again, you can look at the overall quality is like really, really beautiful. And then this is what I would expect right now It's a little dirty, but you'll notice no spots. This was printed on that from a cover perspective because we need this kind of quality. The jigs don't end, but what we're going to do is look at this part first. And so far what you've been seeing is functional parts, and those functional parts look spectacular. Little to no layer lines, little to no defects, and the quality that comes out of the Bambu, again, series of printers, and the H2S is no exception, is just high quality. We print primarily PLA, ASA. We don't do a lot of PETG, but those are kind of like what we print the most. We do some silks, not a lot of silks. But this, for example, is a matte PLA, right? This is Bambu PLA. And what I did is I just colored in the sides here, some of the dark spots for Halloween. And this is a model that was available on Maker World. And I just want you to see close up the overall quality. Look how smooth that top is. It is bone smooth. You wouldn't even tell that this is something that's been 3D printed. Just love the overall quality. And then also from a support perspective, I just want to show you what's going on down here. All the supports were around the base, right? There was no supports in the middle. It was just around the base. And I think this took almost 2 days of print time to print. And when you invest 2 days of print time, or a day, I think maybe it was like 18 to 24 hours, you basically want to make sure that you have great quality. And this is something that we can paint and make look even better, right? This is going to stand out really nicely. We also then print other things. So here are some caps, right? And this is what happens when the actual bed gets stained a little bit, like you saw. So you see these color stains that are there. What I'll end up doing is cleaning that bed just to make sure we don't get these when we print. This is something that I'm using for test. And here are some other jigs, right? So here's another jig right here. That is a great jig, but you can see just the quality. So clean. People typically think our stuff is injected molded, but it's not. It's 3D printed. So from a quality perspective, no doubt you're going to get great quality. Let's go back to the print. Now the print is doing well. The amount of time, it's printing very fast because I do have that super fast mode. So right now it's about 3 minutes before that's going to be done. So we're letting it run at the fastest possible speed. It'll tell us how much time it took. But overall, again, you can see what can you expect from this. Fantastic quality and also great performance. All right, so the printer is about to wrap up, and I would say about over 50% of the printer has been running at the fastest possible speed. So we're going to go ahead and let this print finish. We're going to let the bed cool off for a second, and then we'll remove the print. But you can see, and if we zoom in just a little bit there, pan down so you can see that, the quality is really good. And I know with white, sometimes it's hard to see defects, but for something that's printing this fast, 124% faster than standard speed, the quality is pretty spot on. There aren't that many visual defects that I see there, so it's great to have that kind of speed boost if you want it. All right, so let's look at this. Again, this is a speed test, really with the Benchy, because that's kind of like the standard that everybody tests their printers with. And I can tell you, this is going to be spot on. You don't have to worry about dimensional accuracy. You don't have to worry about quality. You're going to get it here. And again, this was at the fastest possible speed. And you can see the quality that we have here for a Benchy, right? And this Benchy took around 22 minutes to complete, right? So this is what you'd get if you use their faster mode. And again, still very, very satisfied with the overall quality, but more satisfied with the overall prints that we get on a daily basis. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.